guys. We have a loaded show for you today. Uh, this has been a crazy week. We have some amazing footage, amazing video, amazing stuff to share with you. This has not been an easy week. I think we're bracing for more. Hi, Marcus. How's everything with you in Germany?
Well, thank you, Amos. Well, as you already said, I'm in Germany, and I think that says it all. And thanks for watching. I'd like to say hello to the chat. Who's there with us? There's Al Walski with us from Vermont. Hello, Al. We got Cyrus with us. We got Barbara Bartelson. Hi, Barbara. We got Bill Gabriel. Jilly Love is here. Thank you all for watching. And we are looking to see our comments. As Amos said, we would have enough material to easily fill 4 or 5 shows, and all happened within 1 week. And I think the most uh, um, the most striking difference between me and Donald Trump at this moment is I got a Twitter account, right? At least this one. I don't know. What about you, Amos? You also?
I still have my Twitter account.
We are the good
For
guys,
now,
right?
yeah.
For now, yes. And well, what a week! We had the Sunday cave in by the progressive Dems. We had the Georgia election, the absolute surprise, in my opinion. And we had we call it the Capitol Clown Coup. Um, Crazy things, that you guys saw that the Capitol was overrun by Antifa and Black Lives Matters, and fortunately there were enough brave patriots around, to stop them. This is one narrative. This is really one narrative. We will hear this a little bit later. Um, Absolutely crazy. I was sitting here. I was watching this when it started, and at this time, I gotta bring a big compliment to status quo to status quo. I'm sorry, uh, who did absolutely fantastic groundwork there. Kudos to John Farino, I think, is a cameraman for their channel.
Yeah.
Uh, Great groundwork. Also, credits go to the Convo Couch, who also were on the ground there. And I know about the dispute between Status Quo right now and Convo Couch. I don't think it should matter too much, because the most important thing is that we have to look into the future now, uh, which which is more uncertain than ever, in my opinion. And we will talk about this also a little bit later. As we said, we got a full packed show. We will talk about the coup. We will talk about possible impeachments. We will talk about Nancy for Life, Force the Vote, and Fraud Squad. And of course, at this time, to bring a little bit lightness to the show, we will talk about how to have fun with genitals. Yes, but
Do you
this
want to
comes at the end.
do you want to mention the cover slide?
Yeah, the cover. I mean, the cover explains itself. There's the big me in front, and you can see the bluebird down, which happened yesterday. I think it explains everything. And we only have to survive the next 11 days, and everything will be all right again. Everyone who thinks like that doesn't see what's going on.
Yeah,
And I think we should start right now, right?
sure.
Okay, yeah. Let's start with bullshit number one. This Trump tweet is one of the reasons why his account got banned for good, and I think it is. It is in this case. It is good. I also am worried about future censorship, because I am very afraid that all this will strike back, and we all will have to deal with this. Anyway, let's talk about this tweet. And there you can see how he's already fueling this. He's putting the last drops of gasoline into the fire, where he's talking about a sacred landslide election victory, and great patriots badly unfairly treated. Um, I think all these are dog whistles. They are so loud that that really humans should hear them, right? And or read them, as he wrote it there. A sacred landslide. And this is what I also saw on the first day of the riots, before they stormed the Capitol. Status Quo did really interesting interviews with Republicans or Trump supporters on the ground, and you could hear that from the stage there were a lot of religious pseudo leaders, or I don't know from which they were coming, but it was very uploaded, not only with politics but also with religion. And well, if people think they are acting on the side of God, and have a religion as their argument in a political discussion, it's getting very, very dangerous, and
And
well,
and Marcus, it's
I
not
was
just that. It's not just religious. It was all coaxed in a holy war kind of
yes,
context of
yes,
having, like,
yes.
this is the last moment you can save the nation from this enemy within that's trying to destroy it, because the Democrats, if they take power, that will be the end of the nation. And that was the message that was sent. And when you put it in such terms, of course, you heighten the ante, and you make it like worth any means necessary to defeat.
You are absolutely right, and you also explained a little bit, that you mentioned the Holy War, and this is why we call it a clown coup, because if you cannot call it a coup, it was a riot. It was a riot of brainwashed zombies, and you cannot win a war or start a revolution with those ignorant people, with those stupid people. We will see some examples um, of the people there. We saw them. They were posting. They were streaming their stuff on social media. They were having their passports of their working places around. They were waving into the cameras. They, you know, how can you expect that those people would win a coup, a revolution, or whatever? This is stupid. This is just stupid. But I don't want to talk it small what happened there, because I think the danger lies somewhere else. It is about the pictures which were transported, and in the strange reality those people are living. It was a victory for them. They will blame it as a victory for them. That you remember 2021 when we were storming the Capitol. This is also fueling their strange reception of reality and of how life should be. And it is just crazy. And look at this guy. He was in the middle there. I chose another photo to see that we could read clearly what he has written on his hoodie. Camp Auschwitz. What's that? Work makes you free. I can
No,
I
no,
can see it right now
I
here.
think it
Work.
said. Hold on, let me see. It
I
says
have
that
the site right now here.
work brings freedom.
Work
Yeah,
brings
sort of. Yeah,
freedom. It is it. This was a cynical parole the Nazis put on one of the concentration
on the
camps,
entrance. Yeah.
knowing that no one ever would have a chance to escape from this camp. There was no freedom, and work was no freedom. It was a slaughterhouse. And someone who's showing up with this hoodie in Germany, he would face hard punishment by our laws, because this is a no-go. And obviously this is covered by the First Amendment, by the freedom of speech. And yeah, for me as a German, it is unbearable to see such an asshole walking around.
Let me just address something that you said, and I don't quite disagree that it's not a coup, but I think it is. There's a better word that describes it. It's a putsch. That's a German name that's used, and Hitler, for example, launched a putsch during his time. It does not require a full military coordination or any other coordination. It's just overrunning the government by people, by a mob. And this was pretty much that. But what is cool like is that my theory here is that it's not a coincidence that that they broke in, that there was some coordination by Trump with certain people higher up in the police that to allow weak points and to allow this to escalate so that a martial law could be reenacted. And it's totally understandable in this context that Trump was refusing to allow the National Guard from surging to the area for some hours after this all happened, and it explains why he was giddy when he was watching these images on the TV and was confused, frankly confused, when the rest of his staff in the White House was not enthusiastic about what was happening.
Yes. Though I gotta say, of course, there were a certain coordination between certain groups, of course. But look at the diligent work. You know, it still.
Oh yeah, no,
it still stays a clown coup. You know, it
Yeah.
doesn't matter much. Of course, it doesn't matter. You know, but in the end, it doesn't matter much who is involved. You know, because in the end, it was a shit show.
Yeah, of course.
It was.
Of course, and
Right?
we're lucky that people around Trump
course.
were complete idiots, and like Giuliani and others, and incapable people. That if this was not the case, and that's the scary part, if somebody more competent came about, that would have looked very differently.
Yes, and you know, there's a certain there's a proof, one single proof I can bring for those who watched the hour-long shows from Status Quo. Look at this. Just roll it, Amos.
This is something that, yeah, that's John Farino's footage. He really got in there. There's half an hour of it. I really recommend that you watch it. I put the link in the comments. They basically, at some point the camera turns and you see a huge blue line flag. Every cop, every black Blue Lives Matter flag, and which is so ironic when you're seeing what they're doing to these cops and how they're treating them. They stole their shields. They're basically, at this point in the video, they've been pushed back from the beginning of the hall all the way out to the outside doors. The police tried to close the doors. They reopened them. They smashed the windows. And they're now really attacking the police. So let's watch the footage. They're shouting Sieg Heil, don't they? Yeah, so I don't know if to me it sounded like they were shouting Zig Heil, and then afterwards they were shouting at the police, "Get out of our house!"
They were shouting "Uga Uga," which has absolutely no meaning.
Ooga ooga.
It was
Right,
it was
right.
it was not Zikaya. I don't
It
know.
wasn't Zig Heil.
It was
To me,
some
it sounded like Zig Heil.
unarticulate
Yeah,
noise, you know.
I don't
Keine
know.
Ahnung. I don't know. I don't know. It doesn't and it doesn't matter. And if you can show us the young confused lady from Tennessee, please.
You.
I got maced.
You got maced.
By the police.
And what happened? You were trying to go inside the Capitol?
I made it like a foot inside and they pushed me out and they maced me.
What's your name? Where are you from?
My name is Elizabeth. I'm from Knoxville, Tennessee.
And why did you want to go in?
We're storming the Capitol. It's a revolution.
Of course, yeah. We were just amazed, unbelievable.
Like a foot inside and
Yes.
they pushed me out and they
And
maced
you can
me.
stop it here because
It's a
the guy
revolution.
made a little sound experiment with it.
God.
Well, and I think this is only a mild version of a very deep disturbed person, in my opinion, right?
No, I don't think she's disturbed. I think this is you can see here white privilege. This is exactly what it is. This is what we're talking about.
Yeah,
Like, how can they attack us? We're here. We're rightfully here. This is our house. This is our house. You get out.
Yeah, yeah. It's a
Why is there
yeah.
a policeman, a black policeman, blocking my way here?
yeah. It's incredible to see this, right? And well, and it was a wild mix, you know, of those people. I saw interviews from elder couples who
yeah,
were clearly in a different mindset,
Oh yeah,
but
of
who were
course.
not violent and agitating at all. But it was
No, there were
it was
hundreds of
not them.
thousands
It was
of
it
yeah.
was not them only, and we also had. Of course, the radical right wing in it, you know, and
Absolutely.
also
People coming in combat suits and with stuff, with equipment. They
yes,
found weapons. They found Molotov bottles in a
exactly.
van. They
Pipe
some of them
bombs.
were prepared. But that's the tragedy of it, is that this huge crowd. There were hundreds of thousands of people participating in this demonstration earlier on, and the tragedy of it is that they're providing cover for these Nazis, for these really nationalists that are really dangerous and in a fascistic set of mind, and that is the danger.
Yeah,
It's not
yeah,
those people who are protesting peacefully outside. Yeah, there were a lot of
exactly,
more of them,
exactly.
but they're giving them
Those people,
cover.
those people are holding hostage in such a riot. You
I
know,
don't know if I would call it hostage, but yeah, there's.
I think,
I mean,
yeah, because it is the mass. You can hide in the mass, and
yeah,
in this case, you somehow hold them hostage also because they would give you cover. You know, you cannot tell me
right.
that the elder couples who were interviewed would be in the first row
No,
of
of
this.
course.
They would even I think they would even set a foot in the building because of respect. But they also live in the alternative reality. You know that Trump won it, and
Yeah.
yeah. How can he? And we talked about this before the show, and I asked you, and I don't have an answer, and I guess no one has one yet. How can we deal in the future with those people who are so far away from what we perceive to be the reality?
That is the main problem, yes, because there are
You
people
know?
who are truly believing these falsehoods and lies, and therefore there's people in Congress that are willing to go along with it, and that is the true crime here.
Yes, and if you look there, this picture, you know, and the next photos we are showing, it looks like a cheap action movie, you know. It doesn't even look like high quality. It looks like a stupid criminal TV show, right?
Yeah,
And this is though it was such a bullshit coup, if you want to call it like this. it is the pictures it produced, and the pictures who will keep the legend living in those circles, right? In the
Yeah.
right-winger circles.
Yeah, and truly, I think that it's a miracle that not more people were hurt, because that had a potential of really spiraling out of control, and that would have fed into Trump's hands. So in a way, I'm very glad that the police was hesitant. They should always be hesitant. Actually, they should always be nice to people, and err on the hesitant side, and try to de-escalate things.
Yes, yes, and this is right. Let's talk about the role of the police in it. We saw a lot of footage in the last couple of days, which makes you ask which role played at least parts of the police in it, right? If you look back to the summer, and I think, and it was even every German media outlet posted had the question in it in their articles. How can it be that in summer, when black people are demonstrating, that such a brutal violence is came over them? And at the Capitol, you can see it here in the photo, I got you, babe. They are leading those delusioned people down the stairs, and and it is absolutely crazy to see uh, that nearly nothing happened, that they opened the barricades for them, that they took selfies with them, that they discussed with them. And I don't want to spread a conspiracy, but I noticed one thing several times in the second day, in the front row where it was filmed, that the people were sprayed with pepper spray, or I don't know. I don't think it was mace, but it seems to be pepper spray. And those people in the first row, they just wiped their faces, and they addressed the police officers again. I don't know what kind of pepper spray it was. Maybe it was filled with rose petals. I don't know, but it did not look like those people were impressed by what they were sprayed with. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. It was only my
Yeah.
perception. Well, it was ridiculous. The barricades were ridiculous, and we learned that the police staff leaders refused, I think even days before, to add the National Guard or supporting forces. They said more or less everything is okay. We got everything under control, and yeah. And what about those policemen? And if, outside the police, it was a complete bullshit show by the police. But they abandoned those guys within the building. We saw them, those guys who were there to protect the representatives. They were sitting there with their guns in their hands. And others, we remember the black guy in the building who had to escape upstairs, right? And the crowd was following him, and they abandoned their own colleagues. And I think this also should raise a discussion. We will talk about another voice about the rise a little bit later, about Chicago police union leader. Absolutely crazy. But let's see what you got here from Travis Akers.
Yeah, before I do that, I want to say that I don't buy personally that it's an intelligence failure. It's not an intelligent failure. You and I knew that this kind of thing could and likely would happen. I didn't think that they would succeed, because I thought that the Capitol Police and the other forces would reinforce enough. I was at like I said in the other show, I was at protests during the Kavanaugh time appointment and other times, and the amount of police and other forces that were there was just incredible. They could overwhelm anybody that even stepped on the steps of the Capitol, and they were arresting people. Here there were basically no arrests.
Yeah, before you go, thank you, Kittens Mittens,
Oh, yes.
for your donation. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks, Kitten. So basically, I think that it's clear that there was something going on beyond that. I don't they It's known now that they denied help. They were offered help by the National Guard ahead of time, and by the FBI. They refused to accept it. I think that's by design. I don't think that is a mistake. And I think that they're going to have to investigate further and see what's going on. Here's a piece of video that you probably have not seen. I found it. It's a TikTok video from Travis Strakers, and here you will see a policeman doing his job. Yeah, you saw that. There we go again.
Yeah.
I repeat.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, you can't deny
Yeah,
those videos. I mean, they're out there, and there are people who were at the events, and they are traced back. These are real evidence that they should consider when they're investigating this.
Yeah, and then, and after all those photos, after all those eyewitnesses, after all those footage, there is still a worm, a creep coming up. His name is Matt Getz. I'm afraid that he has somehow German origin. I don't hope so, but it looks like, looking at his family name. But anyway, you guys got to deal with him, and look what this idiot has to say.
Some pretty compelling evidence from a facial recognition company showing that some of the people who breached the Capitol today were not Trump supporters. They were masquerading as Trump supporters, and in fact, were members of the violent terrorist group Antifa. Now, we should seek to build America up, not tear her down and destroy her. And I am sure glad that at least for one day, I didn't hear my Democrat colleagues calling to defund the police.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's happening after this whole debate.
Yeah, of course after. And you can see there's a young man with strong ambitions to maybe get into the race for the next presidency, because he is clearly aiming at the radical Trump supporters, maybe who are a good number is already abandoning also the Trumpship. Maybe he thinks I could be their new leader, and I gotta be as radical as Trump was, maybe a bit more. Is only one example. We also got another guy.
Yeah, and we'll touch on that also later in the show, in the segment hashtag impeach the clowns. But here we go.
And here we go. We get the Chicago Police Union president who's defending what happened. And yeah, there was no arson, there was no burning or anything, there was no looting. There was very little destruction of poverty. It was a bunch of pissed off people that feel an election was stolen somehow, some way. And then he goes on. They're individuals. They get to do what they want. Again, they were voicing frustration. They're entitled to voice their frustration. They clearly have been ignored, and they're still being ignored as if they were lunatics and treasonous now, which is beyond stupid. Can you imagine? You know exactly from where the wind is blowing, right? How can this guy today still be in office?
Yeah.
This is a shame. This is a shame. I'm speechless.
Oh, and thank you, Al Walski and Kittens Mittens again for your generous contribution.
Thank you, Al, and thank you, Kittens again. Wow.
What does Al say?
Al says, I'd like to see progressives work in perfect harmony. Make it the real thing. No more backbiting, please.
Yes, and we'll talk about it in
Oh,
the future. Yeah, I'm trying to work on that and get some people together to form some coalition of progressives, progressive media. I don't know if it's going to be successful, but we really need that.
yes, yes, absolutely. Well, and yeah, you added another video in 27. Can you tell us a little bit about it? Or did I?
That
I don't
was
know
a
anymore.
video you added. You added, but
Okay, then just roll it. I cannot remember. There was so much footage. Let's see.
I don't think this would
Oh.
have happened with Black Lives Matters protesters.
Let me tell you something.
oh yeah,
We don't have to even go there. If these insurrectionists were black, they would have been shot in the face. And my God, if these insurrectionists were Muslim, they would have been sniped from the top of buildings. So I want to know from the Capitol Hill police, what is it? Is it just white people? Or is it Donald Trump supporters? Why do you scream at people for walking across the street 3 blocks away from the Capitol? Why are you known as badasses around the Capitol? But then Trump supporters come in and you open the fucking doors for them. You open the doors for them and let them breach the people's house. What is wrong with you?
I mean, in case you did not recognize the voice, it was Mr. Morning Joe Scarborough.
as much as I don't like him, he's totally right.
Exactly. That's why we are playing him, because but he raises the right question here. What if those people were black, were Muslim? I think they would have been knee deep in blood if that would have been the case.
Of course, and then
After what we have seen in the summer,
yeah.
right?
And then you have the audacity of Hannity and others on Fox to come out and say, Biden and these people, the Democrats and the leftist media are accusing the police of being racist by saying this, that more people would be... Of course you know that it's the fact. I mean, there's no question in anybody's sane mind that would be the question, seeing how things have been progressing and happening in the months and years up to now. That it's not even a question in anybody logical mind that is the case.
Yeah,
it's not a matter of accusing the police of being racist. It's just a matter of the bias, and it's there, and it's indisputable.
yeah. Well, let's go over slightly to one of the consequences. Bluebird down, Donald. Not Black Hawk down. It's Bluebird down for you, and I'm pretty sure that he is missing it. And to be honest, I like it. I know about the danger. And I know that there will be hard consequences for all of us. I think what we are going to see is that the social media gets somehow has to work with restrictions in the future, what political content's concern. Maybe some kind of upload filter. We also have here in Germany already. It will have bitter consequences for all of us, and I expect the worst. Though I have to say, I love that Donald Trump is now at home and he's fuming that he doesn't have the chance to talk to his maybe 88 million followers he had before. I love that he's mad about it. This is the one side, but on the other side, I see dramatic changes coming, and we will see where it leads. In Germany, it is already very difficult to publish things on social media because copyright claims can come from everywhere, and it is very hard already here. And we will see how much damage this all will cause for the free speech in general, also in the USA. We'll see. Amos, what do you guys say to this?
Yeah, well, I agree with some of our viewers. I think Kittens makes the point that it's all about intent. Yeah, I guess it's intent, but it's like it's always if it's us, it's okay. If it's them, it's not okay. And Jilly makes also a good point. So yeah, it's yeah. There's not much to
Yeah.
add to that. It's a clear cut situation here.
Yeah, and there's one thing to add, which makes you aware in what kind of world we are really living, is when you go to the to Twitter, to their to Twitter rules, and you will find the following. Show the next slide, please. No, the first one. Yes. Twitter has exclusively for the world leaders in the world a principle and approach section. And not only this, it even gets crazier if you look at the next slide. Well, here is listed what is not allowed if you are a world leader to do on Twitter. I mean, for every human being with common sense, it is explaining itself, right? But for those world leaders who don't have a stable mentality, they had to write it down. And it is promotion of terrorism, clear and direct threats of violence, etc. It is posting private information, home addresses, etc. of people, posting or sharing intimate photos or videos, engaging in behaviors relating to child sexual exploitation, and encouraging a self-promoting self-harm. Encouraging or self-promoting self-harm. I mean, who are we governed by in the world?
And Trump is to blame for several of these.
Yeah, yes, yeah, but listen, that that it is affordable that a communication company has to put this up. And I think why are they making a difference between world leaders and common people?
Yep.
I think those rules should in fact everyone. They should be for everyone. They should be common sense for everyone.
Don't let your murderous psychopathic personality spill onto Twitter.
Yeah. I mean, it was impressive to see, and I said, really? Oh, damn. Yeah. And now, where are we standing? A YouGov poll, which came out shortly after the riots, after the clown coup. Look at this, 6 in 10 voters see the storming of the Capitol building as a threat to democracy. 4 in 10 don't, as it seems, right? And let's have a closer look at the next one. There you see, 1 in 5 voters, including 45 of Republicans, approve of the storming of the Capitol building. This is a majority. If you look at the slide here, this is a majority, and which number is really crazy, is not aware of the story. There were 6% not aware of the story, what happened. Well, I don't know where they've been, but okay. But the majority of Republicans are in favor of what happened. And look, this shows a split in the party. This is a clear split. Here, Republicans, 30% consider those people, those brain-fucked zombies, as I call them, as patriots. Ain't that crazy? And there you see, I mean, it's nothing new, and nearly every media outlet says it. You are living in 2 Americas, minimum. And how can the coming government, under these conditions, with those figures, deal with it or heal it? I have my doubts. I don't know what you think, Amos.
There's been another poll, and I don't know which one to believe, but the other poll that came out showed that 80% of Republicans and 88% of the general public condemned the breaking into the Capitol. Not the whole event, but explicitly the breaking into the Capitol. So I don't know. You made the point earlier when we spoke that it may have been just a shame because people are like all of a sudden they're looking around and everybody's condemning it, so they're like toning down what they're saying, but deep inside they're still supporting it, which is kind of how they treated it with polls with supporting Trump, and I think I tend to agree that's probably the case.
The poll you referred to was taken later than the YouGov poll, directly after the riots, and after the media echo, and even Trump tried to paddle back. I think for many people, it is not possible, to show the true colors, and say I still support Trump. I think that the Trump shaming is an important factor in this poll. I don't know it. I'm not aware of this. I only know about the YouGov poll, but I think this could be an influence in it.
Yeah, and so, yep.
Yeah, and let's have a look at those guys who might be new figures in the radical right Republican scenery.
Yeah, and this comes to the hashtag impeach the clowns. It's basically clear here that there were people who were hitching a ride on this wave of Trump support and trying to use it for their own advantage, because some of these people are planning on running for presidency in 2024. And it is so crucial that those people are impeached now, because if they're not impeached, they're going to be able to run for president in 2024, and they showed their real faces by how they supported the lies, and then continued to support these objections and stuff like that. And sadly, it's not just Cruz and Josh Hawley and Taberville and others. There's 100 and something congressmen in 101 congressmen that were doing the same thing and continued objections after this whole thing was happening. So so here you have Cruz and Cruz. You can read what he says here.
Yeah. I'm leading the fight to reject electors from key states unless there is an emergency audit of the election results. Will you stand with me? And this was, I think it was 2 hours after the riots began, right?
That's right.
Well,
and this next photograph became famous one when Josh Hawley was egging these people on and supporting them the day off, just before the hell broke loose. He may wish he hadn't at this point, but he still kept his objections on, and he was justifying them, saying that he was doing his constituents' bid by voicing their opinions and objections to the votes. And the fact is that that is not the case. But and I will address that in a moment. But here's a tweet that he posted after he got his book deal repealed, canceled by Simon and Schuster. This could not be more Orwellian. Simon and Schuster canceling my contract because I was representing my constituents, leading a debate on the Senate floor on voter integrity, which they have now decided to redefine as sedition. Let me be clear, this is not a contract dispute. It's a direct assault on my First Amendment. Only approved speech can be published. This is left looking to cancel everyone they don't approve of. I will fight this cancel culture with everything I have. We'll see you in court. And this is amazing because this is a senator here that clearly shows his lack of understanding of the Constitution, because the Constitution, the First Amendment is not protecting speech from censorship by private corporations or anything like that. It strictly protects speech from government censorship, and for him to show such ignorance is maybe not that surprising, because he also thought that his role on the Senate floor to repeal the votes and in the ceremony for the counting and certification was justified, and that is by design not the case. The framers made it so that this would be a role taken by the judiciary branch, not by the political branch, not by the legislature, for obvious reasons, because now, as you can see, it can't be politicized. So that wasn't at all the purpose of this hearing, and he's subverted it, and I think I hope this is the end of his career. There's an initiative by Cory Bush, and again, there's a link to it down here, and I would...
Hold on a second, because
Yes.
I just ended Mozart's Requiem on the smallest violin in the world. So, Mr. Hawley.
Yes.
Okay, go on.
The fact that he was even concerned about his book deal when everything's falling apart is amazing. But so Cory Bush launched this initiative that she wants to expel these people from Congress, and I think that it's important to do so now, because we're setting up a precedent that is not it's a horrible precedent. I don't know what else we can do about it. It's just it's horrible. So everybody go to that petition and sign off on it. I don't know if she'll have the force behind her to do so, but at least the politicians should pay a price, and if not, people like Giuliani who egged people on really clearly. He said he used the terms what was it? Trial by combat. He's going to adjudicate this fraud by trial by combat. What could be more clear or a call to arms? And Ted Cruz, in my program during the week, I showed this clip that Cruz was comparing these people to patriots from Bunker Hill and other armed protests. And what is more clearly a call to arms than these things? These people should pay the consequences.
Absolutely. Yeah, and we got reactions to Donald Trump paddling back, right?
And that's right. This is a complete mess, because it's not when you start playing with the mob and their emotions, all hell breaks loose. You don't necessarily know where it's going to go. And some people in that mob were very upset with Trump. Here's a couple of you want to read those responses?
Of course, because of all the cuss words in it. Fuck Donald Trump. This fucking piece of shit dragged us into DC. For what? To leave us holding the bag? What the fuck?
Yep.
He says it's going to be wild, and when it gets wild, he calls it a heinous attack and middle fingers to his supporters that he told to be there. Unbelievable. Now it's your turn.
thousand exerted time, money, and emotions on his request to travel to DC and let their voices be heard in support of fair elections and in support of Trump, only to get a rusty sheave, they misspelled it, in the back when they act like free people in the free nation. And finally, someone said, really feel let down just when the pot was about to boil over. So people feel, maybe rightfully so, they feel that he has turned his back by his later comments where he called them to be prosecuted. And from their perspective, after they see, rightfully so, that he was egging them on to do something violent, that he's then turning his back, is throwing them under the bus. And he has thrown all his supporters under the bus so far. He's thrown Pence under the bus. Pence was fighting for his life. He was evacuated from the grounds. There were people shouting "Hang Pence, hang Pence," when they were at the foot of the Capitol, and they actually found a noose on the grounds of the Capitol hung from this pole, and that's totally possible that had they had caught some of these congressmen hostage, some of them would have been executed. And Pence was for hours later running, like being hidden in a bunker, and Trump didn't show any interest whatsoever. He didn't inquire about him or anything.
Of course not. Why should he? He's Trump, man.
And let's see what happened to Graham when he went to the airport. I don't know if you saw this video, but that's an interesting one.
You traitor! You traitor! You traitor! You're a traitor! Lindsey Graham, you are a traitor to the country. You know it was rigged. You know it was rigged. You know it was rigged. You garbage human being. It's gonna be like this forever, wherever you go for the rest of your life. Audit the vote! Audit the vote! Audit the vote! Audit the vote! Piece of shit! Audit our vote! 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 Yeah, you better! You son of a bitch! You better enjoy Gitmo! Fucking asshole! Piece of shit! You don't represent us anymore.
Poetic justice. And actually, there's a German word that better fits. It's Schadenfreude. Because I cannot sympathize with this guy after 4 years. And after all of this, you would have thought that would have shaken him, right? Well, he did shake him, but not in the right direction. He went on the evening show with Hannity, and he was pleading for Biden and Pelosi not to impeach Trump. That's his reaction to this.
Yeah. Come on, Amos. Lindsey Graham.
There are people who will never learn. They're never going to learn.
The greatest contortionist in Senate ever, right?
Mm-hmm.
Come on. It was clear that he was doing such bullshit, But I only can add that he is wearing a nice chin cover, right? He still did not learn how to wear his protection correctly. Fucking asshole. I'm sorry to say this, but this guy,
True.
He belongs to the group of the fucking assholes, and this woman is right to call him like that.
Yeah, for the wrong reason, but
for the wrong reasons, of course. Yeah, of course. But finally, it seems that we find a little common ground, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Rick and Morty creator. What about him?
Rick and Morty creator was just lost it, and he. It's an incredible video because I can see the frustration, I can see the panic, and I can understand it. People who are like my parents survived fascism in Europe in the previous century, and so I've kind of grown up with that kind of mindset or understanding of that, what the dangers. The U.S. has really not contended with such a direct threat, so it's something new to most Americans. But this guy gets it, and perhaps his final conclusion we might argue with, but on the whole I agree with him. And people in the crowd just notice that they at first think that they don't know how to take it. They start laughing because they think it's an act or something. Let's watch this.
Nazi. They're fucking Nazis. It's the bedrock of humanity. It is so low that the worst people in the world find it, and that's where they rally. And it's so low, we have gotten so bad that a third of our country has gotten there. 29% of the people are fucking Nazis. Let's face it, that's a minority. We can beat them. We have to say, I'm not a Nazi, though. 2/3 of the country just don't want to be political. It's not politics to say you're not a Nazi. It's like taking a shit. You just do it, or you explode. You die if you don't shit, and you die if you don't say you're not a Nazi. Fascism is a fucking cancer. It will eat your country unless your country kills it. Here's what happens when you get cancer. Nothing good. Nothing. There is no way out of it. I'm your country's doctor. You've got cancer. You have fascism. You are going to suffer. You are going to fight. You are going to feel pain. You are not getting out of this. We have fascism. It is happening. We're fucking dead, maybe. Or maybe they're dead. That's about it. It's not a continuum. There's no gray area. It's not a fad. Fascism doesn't pop up and then recede when it finds out no one's into it. It doesn't respond to love. It doesn't respond to hate. It doesn't respond to ignoring it. It doesn't respond to timeouts. It doesn't respond to attention. It doesn't respond to lack of attention. You stab it. You cut it out. You bombard it with poison. Or you die, and in any case, you will probably die. Don't die talking to cancer. Don't die hanging out with it. Don't die arguing with it on Twitter. It's fucking fascism. Enough. Team up. Stop bitching about Bernie Sanders. I don't care what flavor you want your democracy to be. It's democracy versus motherfucking fascism. You can be as Bernie as you want. You gotta do it later, man. You gotta do it fucking later. You gotta do it later.
Yeah, and that last argument he makes, I see, I can understand this. I think people don't take it seriously enough. And if I hear that Trump derangement syndrome thing from Dore or others one more time, I don't know. It's just frustrating because they underplay the danger. Look at where we are right now. It's not an anti-Trump thing. We're fighting for our democracy. We're fighting for even being able to present alternative views. Does anybody think that they would be able to freely express their criticism if we ceased being a democracy, if we became a fascist state?
Yeah.
I mean, we can do civic actions against some administration guy or politician, or organize to block a vote or force their hand or whatever now, because we still have some sort of a democracy. But even though it's very much an oligarchy, we can do things. Under fascism, forget it. What are your thoughts, Marcus?
That's absolutely right. once when you got turned into a fascist state, uh, you don't have any options anymore. Your rights are gone, and you don't have the slightest hope anymore that something would change within the system. It would need an outrage or a war or an outward interference. It is very, very hard to go back from fascism easily, right? And I think to the clip, what a lame audience, right? They were laughing
It's a typical American audience. They're not. They're
it's a wrong passages. And when I expected that the people would jump up their seats and applaud him, and would never stop, there only came a lame laughter,
no, they're
But the other
shocked.
thing,
I think it's shock. They don't know how to take it. They don't know how to take it because this discussion has not really been a part of civic discourse in the U.S. It's always been considered like there's no chance that this country could fall into fascism.
okay. Well, I cannot. You as an American definitely know this better. You know how your mindset is about it, and well, for me as a German, I think what this guy says, he's absolutely right. And the comedy part in it is very minimalized, in advance to the message he wants to spread to the people, and he's shouting it out loud.
I don't think it's comedy. I think he's being sincere, and you can see the person in the background. There's a person that's on the stage, like he's kind of like laughing, and then at some point he realizes this guy's serious, and his expression completely changes. Yeah. It's an interesting piece of video.
Yeah. Anyway, and it proves one thing, definitely, for those who know the show Rick and Morty, it proves that they definitely should legalize LSD, because you can see it doesn't no harm. This man has a clear mind. It is working fantastic, and yeah, I don't know what is his name, Amos. Do you know?
No, I forgot his name.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
We will check it out. Yes, and there we see another scene, which also brings memories to German history. When they were starting to threaten journalists, and they were taking the cameras away and equipment stuff. And in Germany at that time, in the 30s, they also did not want to read anything which was not according their worldviews, and so the easiest thing is to burn it, or to destroy a strange thought, or a different thought. And what we see here, it is the scenery of, only the fire is missing, but everything looks the same.
Yeah, it's frightening. It's frightening, and we're by no stretch of the imagination are we over this, because we know.
But we also got to say that there is another difference, because, as I said, these guys over there, are brain fucked zombies, and between the burning of books, there was nearly the whole country behind. That's also a difference. We should not forget. But look at the pictures.
Oh, I don't think that there isn't a huge amount of Republicans who kind of look at this and kind of laugh internally and think that's the right thing. By the way, that wasn't even CNN's equipment. That was AP's equipment.
It was different teams. Also from Germany, they got attacked, and they only are allowed to go out with bullet vests. What the German journalists concerns, and wow.
But what I wanted to say is that we are by no stretch of the imagination out of the woods, because the FBI and other intelligence is saying that they're intercepting chatter about events, insurgency on the 17th. And some on the 20th, on the day of the inauguration. And I think the 70th is probably more likely than the 20th. But we're going to be in touch and go situation. And the next one may involve much more arms than the previous one. So hold tight, hold to your seats.
Yeah, and we are, yes, I think we should skip this, we should skip this miserable attempt from Donald Trump, to paddle back, maybe not get prosecuted for inciting a riot, etc. It was painful to see how he had to read the teleprompter, and yeah, we skip this. But let's have a look at the future, and what's next. And we are seeing now the situation that maybe the Republican Party is maybe in a split. We will see. It would decide, I think, in the next couple of months how they get the Trumpers back into the party again, or in how far they would separate. On the other side, we have the Democratic Party, which also abandoned, I think, a lot of people, thousands, maybe millions or a million, from the Democratic Party after the Sunday vote. So we have two parties which have to deal with a lot of damage within.
Yeah.
And it is very interesting where all this would lead. My conclusion is, from all what I saw in the past days, is that the USA needs help. It needs help. Amos said it, of the rest, what is left of your democracy needs help to be rebuilt. And for this purpose, I think all democracies in the world, they would need to push the Biden government to finally deliver something to the people. Otherwise, it's in 2 or 4, maximum 4 years, it is over. You only would need a guy with 10 grams more brains in his head, like Trump, and maybe 50% less narcissism than Trump, to get America in a complete mess.
Somebody like Josh Hawley.
Exactly. Someone who has the masses behind and goes on with the Trump style, or with the authoritarian government style. And so the democracy of the world, now we got to push America, we got to push Biden. And in my agenda, the first thing which has to happen right now on the 21st, as soon as possible, is to give the Americans the desperately needed money they didn't get for months. They were not, they did not cause this epidemic.
But I don't know if there's enough money. I don't know if there's enough money that they can. But
they need help. They need help, and they need it fast. And the second thing is, and this is why Saturday is so bad, that the progressives in the Democratic Party, the so-called progressives, failed. If you could bring the people some relief, that they don't have to care about their medical conditions or their health insurances or their healthcare in general. If you bring this prospect to people, and you got to bring this fast, very, very fast, otherwise it all will crash down. These are the most important points now that would show the people, finally, there is someone who cares, who makes our life a little bit easier. And it doesn't end there. It only starts there. It needs a systemic rebuild. Now it's the time, not only for the Republican Party, in my opinion, to show the true colors, what they're intending to do in the future. It is not only the Republican Party, it's also the Democrats. The Democrats are now on the brink of a decision who they would follow. Will they follow the people and would go on existing, or would they still deliver to the corporations and to the big money?
Yeah.
If they do this, and all what we can see until now, the nominations of Biden, etc., they lead to the direction that the Democratic Party would move a little bit more to the right, and exactly this would be the major mistake which would break the party's neck, and of course also of many Americans. If they get a guy in office like Hawley, someone who's a little bit more clever than Trump.
Yeah.
And remember, once when the Afghanistan war started, us Germans, we were told that our freedom, that our democracy would be defended in Afghanistan. It changed. Now, every democratic thinking country must defend democracy in the USA.
Right.
This is my comment on what I concluded from the situation. What can be done in the future, in a short time only. I know this would take weeks to discuss this all.
Yeah,
But
there's a lot of
these are two striking points you cannot discuss away. The needed help right now, and the money, and healthcare. Healthcare must be on the table.
Right. Yeah, I agree. One thing about Josh Hawley, since we brought him up again, is I remember he was fighting alongside of Bernie to get out the $2,000 check, and I kind of applauded him. I agreed with him. The words that came out of his mouth were commendable. But now I understand that this was a populist stance, and I can see he's clearly attempting to run for presidency in the next election. And I can see this is all a show to try and get the both the progressive folks as well as the Trump supporters on his side before then. And that guy is very dangerous. Keep an eye on him.
Yeah.
And one other thing about impeachment. There was a discussion. I had that also in the show during the week, and some people on the progressive side and other sides say, why now? Why should we bother now with impeachment of the president? It's a lame. He's only a few days away from being out of office. Just let it be. Don't start raising. Don't start making waves. Well, the thing is here that if he's impeached again and put through Senate, there's a chance that Senate would block him from running again. And in my opinion, there's no way that they can impeach him before then, even for the pure reason that the Senate is out on recess, and they would have to have all 100 senators vote to reconvene the Senate before the 19th of the month. So there's no way to really complete the process of expelling him from the White House either way. But there's ironically, it was Matt Gaetz that brought up the possibility of impeaching a former president, and he meant Obama, but he made the point exactly to do so for Trump and impeach him after he's left office, just to block him from rerunning.
Yes, and I remember when you were alive with the first show which you covered, the Capitol Clown Coup. I was not convinced, if it makes sense, and I said in chat, it is only symbolic and it doesn't lead nowhere. Only big cash for media, another big event for them,
right.
And just lock the cage for the next days until it's over. But I reconsidered my opinion, because there was so much symbolism in the pictures we have seen. There must be put another picture against it, and this would be that he would at least try to be impeached. You cannot leave this like that. You cannot leave it standing. You got to put something against it. And so I also think an impeachment in this case is absolutely all right.
Right. You want to move on to our next topic?
Yes, and I think we make this short. I already expressed my it is not anger, because I'm not an American, but I'm disappointed, at least, because there was a little bit in me on Sunday when it was about the nomination of Nancy Pelosi, which hoped that maybe in the last minute they would have arranged something, but it turned out it was absolutely fantasy. Um, it was, I think it was even worse because when they first called up, for example, AOC to give her vote, she was absent. It was a no vote. It was a non-vote. She did not. She withheld the vote. This was the correct expression. But when it came heart to heart in the end, and all those who did not give their votes yes were called in. Yeah, she stood up and clearly said Nancy Pelosi. This brought the win to Pelosi, nothing for the progressives. And I don't know how you guys feel, but in the days after this, I sometimes checked in and checked the Twitter, what's coming new from AOC, and I can't help myself. Every tweet now, since Sunday at least, sounds to me hollow and empty. She can express herself very loudly in her tweets, and she shows herself very engaged, but the Sunday performance was so poor, and I waited with my criticism about this vote for six with my answer to this. For 6 days I waited for anything, for any sign coming from the Democratic Party that there was some agreement made at least after the vote.
Well,
Nothing. What there was?
yeah.
Oh, hold on. There was a committee, right? She was elected to another toothless bullshit committee, right? The main target was another thing, and it is, well, I can't help myself. I'm so disappointed in all of them, and yeah, they missed a chance. And if they would have convinced Nancy Pelosi, or let it say put enough pressure on her in advance, so that with voting for Pelosi it would be clear that the vote for Medicare for all would be on the table, this would have given the Americans also an impression, maybe in this party there's something moving. But now you got two parties in the establishment, Republicans and Democrats, in which you don't feel as a voter, I think, what for? Why? Why am I still interested in those parties?
Yeah. Well, I
You
made
know?
this graphics, but in all earnest, I haven't written the progressives in Congress off yet, and part of it is because we, as Nina said, we don't know exactly all the things that were going on. We don't know if there's other things that they were considering, and they explained later that part of their supporting of Nancy was in order to keep things stable while there was this national insurgency going on with Trump. And I don't know, in retrospect, maybe that wasn't a wrong decision, but I don't know if that was the only decision. I think maybe part of it was trying to get into committees and other concessions, and they did get into a committee that oversees investigations, which is like Cory Bush is now doing. That is a powerful thing, because they can fight politicians on corruption, through corruption, just like they
Well,
were fighting mob through tax evasion. They can go after politicians for their corrupt deeds, and I think that's going to become a powerful tool. In 4 or 5 of them got on that committee, so we'll see where that leads. But
I co-
yeah,
I completely disagree with the assumption that the times were too rough. It would endanger the party. You do this exactly in those times, because in those times you can develop enough pressure. You do this exactly in those times of uncertainty to put pressure on them.
But
This is my
but
opinion.
but keep in mind that the calculation, the Doors calculation, is that this situation will not repeat itself in the near future, and I tend
It was too
to
late
disagree.
already. It was too late already.
It
And the
was too
question,
late. Yeah.
the most important question Jimmy Dore raised, what did they do the 2 years?
Right, but let's look realistically also at the amount of political pressure that he has mounted, or us in general. We were part of that. There were 40 people in Washington protesting. That's not something that can move any needles. And if we are to do this, we have to do it in a much more concerted and coordinated manner in the future, and take our time, do it in advance, and learn from other movements like the environmental movement or women's
Let's
protest.
get into detail. Why were these 14, 15 so-called progressives be elected in the first place?
Well, obviously, okay, but Marcus, but that was my point before I took a tangent. The point is that it's not a situation where we only had this one point of leverage and that is it, because when you look at the Senate, where Sanders will now have unprecedented influence in political terms, because he can. Without him, nothing will move through the Senate.
Yeah, but what has the Senate to do with the House vote?
Okay, and the House is the same thing. There's about 15 progressive. There's about 100 in the Progressive Caucus. I don't know how many of them are really truly progressive, but there are people you don't hear about, like Ruskin and others that that are not on our radar, and they're pretty progressive in terms of their policies, and they have definitely enough power to stop the House from doing things that they want to do. So I think that the leverage is not gone, and we'll see if they're ready to use that leverage. We'll see in the upcoming month. I have not written them off by any means. I think a lot of battles are waiting to happen, and I think that you'll see Sanders wielding his power probably much more than he has, because he's never been in such a position before.
Anyway, this is the Senate floor, and as I said, in my perception, and you know that I know the candidates because we interviewed a bunch of them, and I did the research for what they stood for, and it was very clear they were activists, and they were elected into office for a certain purpose, to fight. And you cannot tell me that in 2 years you cannot build up a strategy that, if it comes to such a point where it was that Nancy Pelosi wants to get reelected, that you don't have enough arguments, enough pressure, and enough strength to get something out of it. You cannot explain me this, Arme. Sorry. I see this completely differently. And this is why I think they are weak, and this is why I can understand all those people. And it was me also. You know how many times I said, forget the Democratic Party. You cannot ride a dead horse. There was always the little doubt. You know, okay, we got the progressives in the party. Maybe they succeed to change the party from within. And the first opportunity, the first chance where you got something in your hands, they completely failed. And this is what really disappoints me.
Yeah, but it's not just all on them. We're out here. We're talking.
They were elected. They were elected to do what the voters want from them.
Yeah, that's correct.
The people did their job. They elected them.
Yeah, but we also have to keep pushing.
They did not their job.
We have to keep pushing. We have to keep pushing, not just them, pushing the whole movement forwards. And if we cannot do that, they don't have a back. So we have a responsibility in it as a movement as well. And I hope we start behaving as a movement, as a unified movement, rather than a bunch of people yelling at each other.
I think it is absolutely fantastic to discuss with you because I know that you know my personality. I'm I'm getting maybe more easily furious about this, but maybe it gets me so furious because I don't have to worry about all this shit. I can only repeat myself. 1883. Since 1883, the German population, more and more, didn't have to worry anymore to get a decent medical health care. And it is so fucking crazy, and there is no argument which can explain me why it is not possible. Maybe this is the direction where I'm coming from. And as I said, I'm convinced why people may be critical about single health care or Medicare for all. Once you have had it, you will never give it up anymore. And that's a problem. You cannot miss what you don't know. But if you knew it, you would stand up and fight for it. And this is all I can say, and yeah, let's roll the clip about the Pelosi re-election.
So, hi, my name's Chris Carlone. I'm a Rhode Island resident, born and raised. I took the train down here because I really believe in Medicare for all. The private health insurance industry has affected my life personally in a lot of ways, in a lot of negative ways. I don't want to talk often. I'm a very quiet person, but I really feel strongly about this, so I decided to come down and tell some of my story. So, I mean, the example that I could give, this vest here that you see on me is all of my outstanding medical bills. Now, some of these debts I've paid off, but the big ones on the back, I haven't paid yet. And I don't really make a lot of money. I live on $25,000, $24,000 a year is what I average, I'm a working class guy. I came from a working class family. This past September, I do landscaping construction. I do, odd jobs from time to time. I ran into some poison ivy in my skin. I get the poison ivy rash. My skin reacts very badly to it. But this time was a little bit different than a normal, rash. My left arm ended up getting infected. It was swollen. Now, I can't afford health insurance in the state of Rhode Island. If you go over the poverty guide, the poverty line just slightly, they kick you off the subsidized health coverage. And it's one of those weird catch-22s where if you make too much money, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. They still charge you a lot per month to the point where you can't really afford it between the deductibles, the co-pays. So I went to an in-and-out clinic. I went to a walk-in, and they wanted to charge me $120 to be seen. I didn't have the money at the time. I didn't have the money to get the health care that I needed. They denied me service. They said, you have to pay. I said, I can't. I said, my arm's infected, please. They said, no. I had to go to the emergency room around the corner. They didn't deny me service. I walked in. I got a prescription. They sent me in and out within 20 minutes. You know what my bill was? It was over $2,400. It was $2,400 fucking dollars. And I still can't pay that. Try living on fucking... Those guys over there, try living on $25,000 a year. Not being able to afford insurance. Hardly being able to afford your rent. Hardly being able to afford your car insurance. Food. What other expenses you might need to live. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm here. And I'm only one person of many that go through this, And I know there's a lot of people that I bet wish were here today, but they can't because they're in a worse situation than I am. I'm not one to usually go out of my way to speak up, but this is something that I'm tired of it. I'm tired of being treated like a fucking second-class citizen. And if the past 6 months have shown us anything, I know I'm not the fucking only one. Woo! And all I can say is it needs to stop. Healthcare is a human right, and I'm just tired of being treated like I'm not worth shit. Because I think we're all worth a lot. Yeah. And that's all I really have to say. Thank you, guys.
That's courtesy of Jordan Sheridan and Status Quo, and I thought it was worth sharing because, it's a matter of life and death and people's lives and economies, and it's critical.
Yeah. Amos, a quick question. Do you still got time, or do you have an appointment?
We'll try to wrap up quickly because I think it's a long show. It ended up, as we suspected, to be be a long
This
show.
is why I'm asking. Yeah, and there was one very interesting voice from a woman, which I really like. Meanwhile, more and more, and let's see what Marianne Williamson's take is from the squad vote. If you can run the video.
So you had asked me what I thought about today, right?
Mhm.
And my answer is that I think today was a terrible day. It was a really terrible day, like historically terrible day. I think that the next 2 years in the United States are going to be very significant in American history. And what happened today was such a cave. And even the people that we have been hoping they're going to go in there, how many times a day do we read their tweets? They're going there to fight for us. And we see their tweets of their new office door and they're going to fight for us. And today was a fold. It wasn't a fight. I don't know what day does the fight begin?
Mhm.
How many days are you there before you start this fight? Because the first fight is with the corporatist Democratic establishment. And this is nothing personal about Nancy Pelosi. She's the first woman speaker. I have great respect for much she's done in the past. But what happened today was grievous. And I don't think that the Democratic Party has 2 years to prove to the American people that they will present a genuine alternative to the Trump-type forces. They have, I think, 100 days. And what was voted for today is same old, same old. The same old that lost us seats in the House. No company would thrive in this country that rewarded failed leadership the way the Democratic Party does. So I feel politically homeless today. I think a lot of people do.
Mhm.
Yeah. I think Marianne Williamson nails it. And yeah, we will see where it leads. Maybe in the future we will have 4 parties: the Patriot Party, the Republican Party, the Democratic Party, and the People's Party.
And we'll have to discuss that because there's whole
But not
issues
today.
around it. Not today. I wanted to introduce a new segment to the program that's called Verbal Ammunition. And guys, let me know what you think about it. It's basically a bunch of quotes of people from could be the conservative media, Fox and such, making all kinds of claims and rebuffing those claims. It could be various things from various directions, but I thought that this would be something worth spending some time on. So I might spin it into another show. Let me know if you guys want to see this part of this show, and Marcus and I
then
will,
we would
we'll
need
have
to add
figure out.
sources also, so that we know from where it would come.
Well, those are ideas, not exact quotes.
okay.
Those
I
are
thought it was
things
quotes
that
from
are being said, and then our response to those, or correction. Did you want to cover the genitals story?
Yes. Something uplifting.
Uplifting.
A shortcut about Long Dong. No. Fun with genitals. Another section we have. No, it's no new section. Denmark, quite funny people over there. They are having a new kids show, and it is about a guy, John. How is it name? Let me see. John Dillermand is his name, and he has to deal with a giant long penis. And the first show was aired a couple of days ago, and of course it got split reactions, and quite funny. I think it is who comes on those ideas, I gotta rethink the LSD thing. Well, of course, this guy has nothing harm in mind. He's not molesting people. He's using his genital to do normal stuff like shopping, like barbecuing, and the critics came up, that you cannot do this. How can you do this in the times of Me Too? That you are have a man here who who says he has no control over his penis, because this is one aspect of the story, that his penis has a kind of his own life, but it's a good life. It is nothing bad minded, you know. And it was there was some outrage. And the comment was another comment was from Erla Heinzen-Hostjet, who's a clinical psychologist who works with families and children. And she says, John Dillerman talks to children and shares their way of thinking, and kids do find genitals funny. Yes, and this is absolutely true, yeah. The show depicts a man who is impulsive and not always in control, who makes mistakes like kids do, but crucially, Dillerman always makes it right. He takes responsibility for his actions. When a woman in the show tells him that he should keep his penis in his pants, for instance, he listens, which is nice. He's accountable. I mean, while I'm reading it, it's really strange.
Unlike Trump.
But yeah. It's a difference to Trump, yeah. And DR, this is the creative studio, responded to the latest criticism by saying it could just as easily have made a program about a woman with no control over her vagina, and that the most important thing was the children enjoyed John Dillerman. I think it's absolutely hilarious, right? Could you imagine this being broadcasted in the US at the Children Hour? I mean, this is meant for 4 to 8 year olds, you know.
Yeah, but it does remind me of the gay Teletubby debate in Britain. It always crops up. There's always this fear that, like, we're teaching the kids something wrong. Well, really, they should fear that kids are getting exposed to the news, not to that kind of stuff.
It's crazy. I love the story, and I think it was. You should also know about this. Yeah, the week satire roundup, Amos.
Yeah, we're up to that. All right.
Yeah. It's our card. It's another way to present our card. It's the me, which is the most important thing for Donald, right?
That's right.
And Erica is what's left. Yeah, and this is an old meme, you know, we know this, and yeah, it came not that far, you know, but yeah, it was stupid and terrible enough. It cost the life of 5 people.
Yeah.
There's a new thing coming out. Too bad Christmas is over. This would be the perfect prison for children ages 6 and older. And there's a little warning also written on it. It says, warning, choking hazard. Yes, I can imagine this. And there's the wild buffalo helmet guy, the right winger with the Thor's hammer. It is very accurate if you look at the details, right?
Yes, yeah. There's also like there was a description show of all the items you need to dress as him.
Yes, and yeah. Don Kong tops it. Yeah, and this I think is everyone is waiting for this moment. I hope that New York is ready. In 11 days, New York, I want to see action, right?
Yeah. Well, he's gonna try and hide it out in Mar-a-Lago, where his neighbors already filed a lawsuit that he won't be able to stay here because there's a piece of agreement that he signed that nobody could stay in that resort more than 3 7-day periods.
Yeah. And there was another interesting message I got from Katie, you know, our Katie here from Uphill, and she told me that a Luxembourg a newspaper reported that a government machine is expected in Scotland on the 19th of January. If you remember, in Scotland there's also a golf resort Trump owns, and we don't know yet. It might be that he is trying to escape to Europe, which I don't hope. Don't frighten me, guys. Keep him over there, you know. Put him in orange and keep him. Yeah, and there we got the Cookie Monsters.
And their hands are stuck in the cookie jars.
Yes. Also, with Warnock are monsters. Yeah. Bye-bye. Yeah, passing the torch. Literally.
I don't think that's what they meant by that initially.
Yeah. Donald kept saying it's all over the internet. Yeah, well, so are Melania's tits, but that doesn't mean they're real. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that is Republicans when BLMs breaks into Sephora, and in contrast, Republicans when the Proud Boys break into the Capitol.
Yeah.
And here's the proof that the wall is in effect against terrorists.
Yeah,
No, it's very true.
Yeah. Want to talk a little bit about I think we talked enough about the Congress, the Capitol Coup clownery.
Yeah, if you guys wanna,
But it was great that you covered it on 2 days.
yeah,
While
we had
I was
2
figuring
specials.
out how what's going on, you were pretty soon with it.
Yeah, so yeah, you can watch these. I go more into detail about all the impeachment versus 25th Amendment and all that kind of stuff. That was hastily put together shows, but they contain a lot more than we introduced here. And just a reminder, there was an energy program that kind of seems like 2 years ago at this point, but I had a great guest, and we spoke about the future of energy, and it was kind of an uplifting show. So if you feel like getting a little bit optimistic, yeah, you can watch that.
Yeah. Well, we made it, Amos.
Made it.
We made it. We came through this horrible week, and we could pack it in one show. Yeah, and we are getting out this a little bit. It's at this time while Trump finally conceded, it's an old song, but remember back a couple of days when he did not yet, and in this sense, you should take the Jen Houston song "Fucking Concede" from Now This, nice song, as I think, and at least it's playable here on YouTube. Yeah, which is also a drama. Anyway, thank you very much for watching us talking and talking and talking, and arguing a little bit. I appreciate your support. Thank you very much for donations. Well, it's family, and it's great that you're with us. And
yeah, we love you all, guys.
Enjoy the weekend.
Yep.
And see you next week.
Bye.
Suing and lying and whining and pouting, complaining and scheming, each tweet filled with fears won't get you another for years. So if you're looking for the exit plan you need, all you gotta do is suck it up and pick up the phone and finally concede. Go tell your strike force it's time to abort, as all your silly lawsuits get laughed out of court. Even on Fox News they'll have to report that you'll never get it. Thinking and praying, wishing and hoping, 'cause claiming and hoping and tweeting and pouting, cheating and scheming won't make it not true. America doesn't want you. So if you like to leave without this egg on your face, all you gotta do is buckle up and suck it up and be a man and call him up. Yeah, do it. And after you do, we can end this race. You know what to do, it's not confusing. With every single recount you keep on losing. Rudy Giuliani keeps on losing, but you'll never get one goes wishing and hoping and thinking and praying and cursing and yelling and firing your staff. Won't end this terrible gaffe. So if you'd like to leave with a shred of dignity, all you gotta do is suck it up and pick it up and dial it up and tell him, yeah, do it. And after you do, he will be free. We'll all breathe easy when you can see.
And